Well, welcome back to 50K3R2. So, we're off to a rip-roaring start, and I've been meaning to do this one for a minute, but, the moods just don't strike all the time. And when they do, it coalesces into the usual gibberish and laughter, as one person put it, a giggle fest. So, everything has been politicized anymore. Well, of course, everything's politicized. The entire world is nothing but one political joke, and it has been for, a few thousand years. And of late, here in, this year, it's been a funny spectrum on multiple sides. And it goes from the right to the left and on subjects that are inherent for both lawful people and the not so lawful people. And there's a few areas where a superhero or villains in general just kind of look at the spectrums, whether they really mean to or not. It affects all sides. And one of the big areas is weapons. Firearms, knives, the fun stuff, explosions, gasoline included. And so one of the areas of contention is the land of the spree is the right to weapons. See, the funny thing here is everybody is focusing on the guns, and because they are the most iconic weapon of both cinema and real life, you can't have any sort of force without guns. Well, you can. It's just a lot less effective. And the hilarious thing here, though, is that the focus on the political side is on the on weapons that require two hands. Now, technically, all weapons require two hands, but the most popular ones require one hand, and you can use two of them at the same time, but your accuracy goes down by a freaking shitload. So, the most popular weapons, in the case of the long barrel rifles, are the weapon of choice to be attacked, and it has to do with misunderstandings in a way. The misunderstandings are, statistics just don't line up with the death sprees, in the sense that you basically lose less than 1,000 people per year. Less than 1,000 people. Generally, for pre-2018, it has been less than 500 people a year. Now, by comparison, you lose about 200,000 people to doctors a year, over 100,000 to cancer, vehicle accidents, and, Lord forbid, hammers. And, within the categorization of hammers, you can also include same level with, bare hands, crowbars, screwdrivers, wrenches. I mean, maybe those all get classified as hammers for all I freaking know. But, your claw hammer is one of the best go-to weapons for murdering people. The thing that heroes try to stop, whether they're wearing a badge or not. And that's the other funny thing, is, the weapons being concentrated on are, tools for everybody. You don't have to be a criminal in order to appreciate good firepower, even if it's just a stick and a piece of metal on the end of it, in the form of a baseball bat with a nail. But I digress. So, the most popular weapon being focused on is the Assault Rifle 15, technically the Armalite rifle. And the most, what was it, Bushmaster That name alone conjures so many connotations that are just not even related to a rifle. And the AR-15 is the most popular demonized gun in recent American history. And all you're looking at is a .22 farm rifle. And a lot of weapons are basically .22 farm rifles. Now, semi-automatic guns, which, semi-automatics have been around for, well over 100 years now. If you want to get super freaking technical, it's, figure about 105, but it, let's just say it's not exactly a modern technology. It's just been a stable technology. And I'll be honest with you, you have to go to antiques to find a non-semiotic pistol. Even your revolvers are basically semi-automatics. As far as rifles are concerned, you still have your lever actions, you still have your bolt actions, you still even have your muzzle loaders and all that fun shit. But the most common type of gun out there on a 95 plus percentile is a semi-automatic. And this includes basically every type of rifle, including varmint hunting rifles. Hunting is not just a subject of getting tags and hunting antlers, or bear claws, or bear rugs. Hunting can involve target practice on mice, prairie dogs, possibly, I'm not sure on prairie dogs, but, marmots, stuff like that, coyotes, defending livestock, legally killing wolves, legally killing bears, and not having any need for any kind of offensive hunting tag. The semi-automatic rifle is a staple of guns. It is just a blown out fact. Now, when you're dealing with the statistics on people killing people with guns, the one that goes by far and away is a goddamn pistol. A handgun. I really hate the term handgun. Pistol is so much easier to understand, even though it may not be technically correct. So, then the other go-to is, shotguns. They almost rank as high as fucking rifles. Call that a quack. They almost rank up as high as rifles as far as killing people per year. And also definitions such as, I refer to them as mass homicide attempts. And in the case of rifles, you gotta be frank. A rifle is a common weapon. It would be protected under law regardless. And in the case of banning the damn things, good freaking luck. There's so many replacements on the most popular styles of rifles that it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. The only wholesale way of doing anything is banning an entire classification of gun. Okay? Banning an entire classification. And so here in 2019, the most up-to-date number of people dead by mass assault with a rifle is pushing about the national average. I think the 2018 number was about a little over 600. Okay, and that finally broke the 500 mark versus the previous years, which barely approached 400. So 2018 was a big explosive year in a sense. And see, the problem here is rifles are so ubiquitous. You don't have to have an assault rifle 15 or any type of rifle. even semi-automatic. You can do as much damage with a bolt action if you're fast enough. You can do as much. You want scarier? Go with the lever action. They hold less bullets, but you can fire them very quickly. The fire rate for a semi-automatic pistol that's not being jimmy rigged with a what are they called, bump stocks, and the mountain climbing hooks. I can't remember what the hell they're called. You can rig them up, and then there's just the simple the finger trick. Literally, you just put pressure against the damn thing, and the kick of the rifle will turn it into a much higher fast shooting rate. But you basically lose all accuracy in any of these scenarios. The exception is the bump stock, and bump stocks are, well, they're a tool for one, but I don't necessarily agree with them on a even a self-defense basis. Really, that was well, it is what it is. You don't have to agree with every enhancement tool out there. It's just even like a suppressor. It doesn't take away the sound that much. It doesn't really do much of anything other than, well, it doesn't really do much of anything. It does add, I can't even remember what the hell it does. Anyways, ignore my rant on a suppressor there. X-nay it out. Alright. Most attachments on a gun do not do much of anything except increase accuracy. The major exception was the bump stock, okay? Because that does allow the faster rate, the faster rate of fire by a long ways, and it does increase the accuracy, but not when you're doing the spray fire with it, okay? Spray and pray is not accurate. Semi-automatics are a much, even in a warfare situation, you generally aren't spraying praying. You are going with a semi-automatic shot. One pull, one bullet. So, to continue on with the mass homicide attempts, the amount of research done into this area is very unusual. I have to give a hand to John Stossel here for a few months ago doing a piece on the mass homicide myth or something like that. And basically what he ends up finding out is that the guy who did the original study that said the U.S. had the largest number of mass homicide attempts with rifles, well, guns in general, was that he fudged. He literally fudge-packed the study. He will not release his data. He will not do anything of the sort. It's an equivocation with nothing to back it up if he does not release the data. So there is another research group called the Crime Prevention Research Center, and they did the same study of following basically the same criteria and devoted the time to find the supposedly what the other guy did, which is hunt other countries for stories relating to shooting crimes that deal with 4 or more people. And their research basically found the complete opposite of what the other guy's hyped fudge-packed research came about with. And just as an aside, I'm not using that in a derogatory sense. The fudging of the data. Okay? Never a derogatory sense. Except for his actual study. So, what they ended up finding was that the U.S. actually ranks very low. It is actually one of the most you can actually just pour through the data from a USA Today article, which I can hyperlink in the description below, and you will find that there is only one state in the entire United States of where homicides outweigh the suicide rate, and that is to the good old Chicago state of Illinois. Well, the good old state of Chicago. And it does it by a large margin. It's actually a 2-to-1 ratio. But every other state follows the national trend of gun suicides. Not just suicides, but specifically gun suicides outranking the homicides by a large margin. It's 2-to-1 in most cases, but in some states like Idaho, you end up having a data set that says you had 242 gun deaths, but 215 of those were gun suicides, leaving you with a grand total of, high 20s murder rate. So what you end up getting with that data set is Idaho is one of the most safest places to avoid being murdered in. Literally. Yes, you had 28 murders, or something along those lines. But when you X-nay out the gun suicide rate, the crime data variable drops to below, it's like 0.3 people per 100,000 per capita. It is insanely low. It actually ranks it lower than Canada and Australia. And that is just for my own home state here. The same trend follows for California. It also follows for Nevada. And Nevada has one of the highest death rates by guns at a capita of 10 per 100,000. But the majority of them, once again, are suicides. So, when you get to the talk about banning guns, banning rifles, man, we have to have that assault rifle 15 gun ban. We tried this back in the 90s and it lasted up until 2003. Basically what the data said there was that there was no point in even doing it. So basically it just turns into a really funny event. And the only people that are really laughing at the whole ordeal would be a person that is professionally interested in causing harm. And they do it in the name of crime prevention, but the issue is that literally the data set says it doesn't decrease harm. Okay, I'm not even going to get into the democide argument at all with this. When you decide to outlaw a particular substance, you end up getting a black market. And a black market means that somebody can sell something for a much higher price than it was originally worth. Okay, we had this with a grain plant. We had this with alcohol. It does not paint a pretty picture. In fact, during the prohibition of alcohol, you had a massive upspring in gun crime. St. Valentine's Day Massacre would be a very, very noteworthy example of this particular issue. So, the other really funny part, and this one I find absolutely hilarious, is a particular politician wants to outlaw body armor. Do you know who that affects? That's basically a direct reference to stopping the Batman. Make it harder for him to replace his bulletproof armor. You know what I mean? You get the picture. The entire structure of preventing crime by eliminating tools is to stop your favorite superheroes. And this includes the actual live movement, who does rely on some of this particular technology, and you can include this in the form of other real life superheroes in the form of like bounty hunters and also security details. Bounty hunters, security details. So basically what you end up getting is not a wholesale ban. What you end up getting is something similar to the federal firearms licensing system. It's not that these bans would actually ban anything unless it's an assault rifle 15 ban. See, those ones might be a wholesale ban. But in the case of something like body armor, you would end up having a licensing system, whereas currently you have nothing. Their body armor does not cause harm. And in fact, it barely really protects people in the end. You have no death ratio when it comes to body armor. You actually don't even have a death ratio for criminals wearing body armor surviving. That is how funny that particular argument is. Every mass homicide attempt has basically ended with the person being caught, apprehended, or them dying, with or without body armor. There's actually plenty of research, video research, of people wearing body armor, and they don't survive. Okay? The only people that wear body armor that survive are people in large numbers. And if you haven't ever looked, body armor is good body armor. You can get homemade body armor that's pretty effective, but it's heavy as hell. Okay? Now, professional body armor is very pricey stuff. Like, you have to have a decent sized wallet. And to be honest with you, most of the people committing gun crimes specifically are not rich enough to acquire good body armor. So banning body armor is absolutely a waste of time, especially since you can home make it. Yes, there's videos for that. Go check them out. Trust me. It's it's on the same level as laser guns. See, that's another thing that nobody talks about. Absolutely nobody talks about. It is a novelty item, but the people that take it seriously are modern day militaries. But the fact is technology has progressed so freaking much that laser guns, laser assault weapons, laser assault rifles are a complete reality. All it takes is a little bit of tooling in a kitchen or a living room, most likely a living room, in order to build yourself an effective laser gun. And these are not regulated anything. You can build a laser gun without any problem. And it's because, well, you can even buy them to an extent. You get a cheapo laser, you test them, and if they give off an infrared signal, there you go. You have yourself a working laser gun. It just might take you a minute to light something on fire. But if you increase the power output to the laser to a 1 watt, all it takes is a 1 watt laser, or even a bit less, in order to get something that can light cardboard on fire in less than 30 seconds. Even much less. Now, if you compare cardboard and wood and stuff like that, it becomes much easier. And the reason is that the lasers are not visible. They are invisible to the human eye. All of them. The only ones that break that mold is in a dark room. In a dark room. Okay? Filled with dust. Or if you want to be like one dude who built a 200 watt laser, which is basically a giant ass flashlight with a magnifying glass. And that's quite the weapon, is all I have to say. But yeah, for home self-defense, you can use a freaking laser gun if you want to devote the time to it. It's absolutely hilarious. So anyway, that's probably a good wrap-up for this particular subject. An assault rifle ban, an assault rifle 15 ban, and other similar pew-pew weapons is a rather pointless venture when you have commonplace technology to build yourself an invisible fire-starting gun. Take that for what you will. 50K forgot my own name for a sec. 50K3R2 over and out.